All right. You're not Tiffany Prince.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
How are you?
Good. I've been busy all day. What have you done? TK.
Literally rushed my butt here. And I was like, oh. Hold on. I think it says Tiffany, but
It does say Tiffany.
Okay. Let me see if I can change this. Hold on. How do you change this thing? Never mind. Got it. Don't tell me that.
God, my hair is all fuzzy. Don't laugh at me.
Welcome to the club, sister.
Did you get my picture sent to me?
What picture?
The one I asked you for.
Not yet. I just got here. Didn't I just say that?
I figured you would have gotten it while you were walking into the building.
Who has time to take a picture for you? So sorry.
You. Duh.
Nope.
Jeez.
Right. I'm going to try this live on Facebook thing. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Oh, great.
Okay, well, we're running into complications already. How do I need Mama Pescado.
Uh-oh, where is she?
Not here, apparently.
Is she not in the food pantry?
That's where she's at. Are you okay there, Teresa?
Why? What are you talking about?
Oh, no, I'm just asking.
I'm just whistling. Jeez.
Jeez.
How's your guys' day going so far?
Well, Addie's making me work like a slave driver on some welcome week stuff, so it's been really busy.
I was here until 9, so like.
Last night? Why?
The meeting.
Oh, well, that's part of your job. I mean, so.
I was here all day because you said I needed to be here at 8 yesterday. So you're welcome.
Well, mornings are my jam, and I'm sorry you had to be here until 9. That sucks. I will be honest.
Yeah, well, gracias. How's your day?
It's going.
Hi, Julia.
Hi.
Hi, Julia.
Hi. How many are of there are us? How many? Yeah, how many of there are us? Wait, that makes no sense.
So we are just now waiting for the paid people.
Paid people? I'm so tired. I can't even talk.
Courtney. Hi, Courtney.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I missed hearing your voice.
Well, maybe we'll have to add some synchronous components to the courses in the fall so you can hear my Southern twang.
That's exactly why I love it. It's because of your Southern accent. I love that.
Well, thank you.
Hi, Jonathan. Thank you for joining us today. He ran away.
You're welcome. Thank you. To find this place here with lots of people joining, so doing different things rather.
No worries. And then we are just waiting on one more person.
Okay.
And everybody had a chance to look over the questions beforehand, so nobody's completely surprised when Addie asks them.
Yes.
Whoa.
How's it going on your end, Addie?
Not very good.
Well, your backdrop looks great.
Thank you.
So there's that.
Oh, good. And Sarah, I think, said she would probably be a few minutes late because she was coming from one meeting to this meeting.
That works.
So, do we want to start by introducing ourselves to each other so we kind of get a background while Addie figures out what she's trying to do?
Sure.
Okay. Jose, go ahead and start, I guess, since it goes to you and then on my screen at least.
All right. Hey, I'm Jose Rivera. I'm a second year Gorge Scholars, and I'm in pre-nursing right now.
That's awesome. I am Teresa Shook. I am in my second year of the Pathways program here at CGCC. I am also the vice president on the ASG this year. It's you, Addie.
Okay, so my name is Adilene Sordia, and this is my third year here at CGCC, and I am your current president for the student government here.
And Addie is going to be our moderator. She'll be asking all the questions. Miss Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia Cardiel. I am student representative for ASG, and I am in the Pathways program for teaching as well.
And then Miss Courtney.
I was just like, I haven't met you yet. I'm Courtney Cunningham. I am an instructor in the Education's Pathways program, as well as in the Early Childhood Education program. I teach a couple of courses in there, and I also teach in the English to Speakers of Other Languages program. So I kind of have my hand in a variety of different things at CGCC. So Julia, you must be starting this year in the Education Pathways program.
Yes,
awesome.
I've heard awesome things about you. My mother-in-law, Olga.
How is Olga?
She's great.
She is? Okay, because she was in class with me right as all the COVID stuff started happening, and it was, it was stressful, and we didn't know what was going on, and I could tell she was concerned, so I've thought about her so much throughout all of it, and I'm happy to hear she's doing well.
Yes, she loves you.
Oh, well, I love her too. She was asking me, I think she was going to knit me a green scarf.
Yes.
I remember. I haven't received it yet, but I remember that she said she was going to do that. So maybe one day soon we'll be back face to face and be able to have that exchange.
I'll tell her.
Yes, please tell her I said hello and I said my love.
I will.
Thank you.
All right, and then we have Jonathan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to hear about each of you and what you're doing. I am the College Board Chair, and besides that volunteer work, I am the Director of the Migrant Education Program at the Columbia Gorge ESD, which is actually housed at the college and building too. So work with districts in the local area, primarily North Wasco, which is the Dallas School District.
Awesome. And then Miss Sarah just joined us. Hi, Miss Sarah. So what we are doing is going around introducing ourselves and what we do with CGCC.
So I work in financial aid. I'm the money. I take from the government, give to the people, or I teach people how to take from the government.
So you're Robin Hood?
Yeah, like that's what I always said. They're like, "Oh, who are you?" I'm like, Robin Hood. But then Cardi B came out with that song, so then I'm like, well, actually, I'm more like Cardi B because I make money move. But you know. But yeah, so I meet with all the students. I'm the front-facing financial aid person, so odds are if you fill out a FAFSA, you've dealt with me at some point. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
All righty. We love you, Sarah. I know I've had time with you, so you're my fave.
Thanks. I like my job. I like what I do.
All right. How are we doing, Miss Addie?
I think she's muted.
I'm back. Okay, I'm trying to figure out the password with Tiffany right this second. Give me a second.
Okay.
Oh.
Is everybody ready and excited for fall classes to start? I am.
Sure.
Come on, Sarah. That's a big pile.
That's how many appeals that I went through today.
Oh my golly.
Half the time. Sorry, I was a couple minutes late, but I was like, I have one more. We're getting through this.
That's okay.
So if I have an appeal, we discussed it today.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
But no denial, so I'm happy about that. There's a couple that needed some more information, but
Hey.
I like that. Although this is me in the SAP meeting. So yeah, it's pretty clear. Probation, yeah, okay.
You get things done. That's
I'm
good.
like Oprah. You know, I'm a burster. You know, I go in bursts. When I'm like got the adrenaline pumping, I'm like hyper focused. But if I don't, then I'm just like shiny glitter. Ooh, that's pretty. Meme. Cat.
I think we all can have those moments, let me tell you. But I'm going to need that burst of energy for the next term because I'm at 18 credits. So we're going to get it done.
You can do it.
Courtney, be nice to me this semester.
Well, Dutch Brothers opened up again today.
You're going to do great.
I have 2 classes with Courtney, so that's why I'm telling her to be nice to me.
Nice.
Be lenient. No, I'm just kidding. Are you ready, Miss Addie?
Yes, I am. We're not sharing this on Facebook because it's not working, so I'm just going to go with it.
Hey, that works. We'll figure out how to post it later.
Yeah.
Are you going to record it? Oh, it is recording.
It is recording. Yep, it is recording. Okay, so on my screen I have Jose and then myself in the middle, but I'm gonna go that way. So my first question will be asked to Jose and then I'll just call the next person up. Does that work?
Works for me.
Great.
All right, so I'll start with, what does it mean to you that CGCC is represented as an HSI?
For me, I think it revolves around equity. Just you know, help those who are coming from low income, and just because not a lot of those students have the resources they need. So I think having having CGCC being HSI is really helpful for those students.
Great answer. All right, Teresa, you're up.
Oh, I'm up. All right, so CGCC as an HSI institute is great. Being on campus and seeing the diversity that we have, seeing everybody involved, is really great and overwhelming in a good way. And having a local and affordable choice for everybody to go to, and, you know, encouraging no matter what your background is, and having, you know, everybody encourage, you know, you can do this, you know, being what's the word I'm looking for?
Motivator.
No, but that's a good word though to use. You know, being a non-traditional student, you know, having even that, it was great. So I could imagine what the HSI students have, you know, that's just awesome, having CGCC as a HSI institute.
Great answer. All right, Julia, you're up.
I agree. I just think the diversity is all there, and being on campus, you feel it. And I think that's something that we really strive to keep. And when you're on campus, that's what you feel. And I think that's amazing.
Okay, all right, Courtney.
So for me, my understanding is that being in a Hispanic Serving Institute means that we've got a portion of our student population that is Hispanic, and it's large enough to where we need to recognize that and serve those students in a way that they're able to excel through their academic life. So echoing what everybody else has said, you can see that we have a lot of diversity on our campus. We have it in our communities that's reflected on campus. So I think that being an Hispanic Serving Institute fully recognizes that and hopefully puts motions in place to better support those students so that they are integrated into campus life and that they're able to succeed both on campus and in their lives beyond.
Agreed. All right, Sarah, you're up.
What does it mean to me that we're represented as an HSI? It just means that we are open, more open access. That's really important to me, that we are available for everybody. And it's been really cool because we've been able to find more resources and learn about more things like DACA and more undocumented situations. And it's really been, I think it's great because it shows that we actually are open and care about that population of people, which is important in any college setting.
Okay, Jonathan, you're up.
Happy about the representation. First of all, when you reflect and look at the demographics of the town here in the Dalles, and you take a look at what's the population in the elementary schools and all the way through high school, the numbers until recently are not even close to reflecting at the college what they have been in the public schools. And so equity, we are in a place of providing that, having an awareness and being knowledgeable and opening and to people of color, and specifically finding a place where people of color are feeling welcome, and that people in the white skin, such as me, are also their allies and can help and support to make sure that we do have those microaggressions and things that people of color may experience that white people in the skin that I'm in may miss unless we are, that's brought to our attention. And little by little, those injustices and practices that are in place can be interrupted by white allies that stand up and say, hey, that's not right. And we are a Hispanic serving institution, and we are that because we are at least 25% Latino in the school, and actually we're currently at 31%.
31.
But once you get to 25, you can become an Hispanic serving institution, I believe is the threshold. And what the really cool thing about that, in addition to, I was really excited when I moved to this area to find out about that, is we have a great opportunity to continue to share with the community, with the Latino community here, that many of them don't know and don't realize that, if you just talk to your Latino families here and the parents, they're HSI, what's that? Tell me more. And so they want to know, that their kids are welcome. And the families here are very excited to have a place where their kids can go to college and be close to home. And so I'm really excited about HSI. I'm excited about the construction that's going on campus for housing and opportunities for our students of color and all students. And so HSI, Hispanic Serving Institution, is a great opportunity for us to grow this organization and be more inclusive. And remember that equality doesn't mean equal. It means meeting everybody where they are.
I agree. Great answer. Our second question would be, what intrigues you the most about Hispanic culture? And I'm back with you, Jose.
Well, one thing about, well, as you can see, I'm Hispanic, but I was always brought up to be like very humble, welcoming, and if you're Hispanic, like you're no stranger to each other. one thing I really love about the connection between families, or just like Hispanic people, the parents always like call you mijo, mija, you know, they're very welcoming. And that's the one thing I really love about our culture.
Agreed. Teresa, you're up.
I'm personally very intrigued by the Dia de Muertos celebration. Growing up with my background, I'm Catholic, and so we celebrate All Saints Day, which is on the day after Halloween, and that falls during that same celebration. They celebrated on the 1st and 2nd of November, and we celebrate All Saints Day on the 1st of November. So they've always coincided, and I just love all the colorful celebration. And when the movie Coco came out, it was great to be able to actually see that and be able to explain to my kids, this is why we go to church on this day. This is why we remember our family members who have have gone on. And it's great to be able to explain it to them in a way that they can understand. And that's just something that I've always grown up with, and so being able to share that with them is something that's always intrigued me. I've always enjoyed the Dia de Muertos celebration growing up.
I agree. That one's a good one. I really like the movie, not gonna lie.
It's a cute movie.
I
love it.
I cried like a baby.
So did I.
Mama Coco. I
Aww.
love it.
Julia, you're up.
So like Jose said, like my culture background is Hispanic too. So a lot of traditions. For instance, we make tamales for Christmas. And so like I remember going from house to house, jumping around, making tamales at like my grandparents' table to my aunt's table to, that's just a traditional thing. And so that's something that intrigues me about my culture, is just keeping those traditions. Another thing is just, the hospitality that, Jose said. And we've, as being a mother, like we have to try to keep those going with our, our children, because, here it can get lost. And so that's pretty much, that's our culture, and we have to keep it going, because if it gets lost, then we're not gonna ever have it. So it's...
I agree. Courtney, you're next.
Well, I've got two major things that stand out. The first is the value on family. I just think that it's incredible, the tight bonds and that I see and have witnessed. And they're not just with the immediate family, it's the extended family, and it's just really the strong sense of community and support system. And it's, of course, I think that that's an American value as well, but it's just that it's a whole other level that I've witnessed. And I think it's incredible. I think it's so important. I would imagine that it just makes you feel so loved and always encouraged and supported in all the things that you do. And that's just an incredible feeling. And also the celebrations. So, as an ESOL instructor, the majority of my students come from Hispanic backgrounds, and there is always just an enthusiasm about throwing a party, bringing in the tamales, cooking this, just bringing that culture into the classroom at any chance they can possibly get. And I just love that enthusiasm for celebration and tradition. And celebration.
I agree. I love the tamales, though. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of that. Sarah, you're next.
So what intrigues me the most about the Hispanic culture would probably be, I love the art. I love Hispanic art. Frida, I feel like we need more of her. She's a warrior. I really love the way that the women roles in Hispanic culture are very respected. And I think that is super important. The fact that you have like people in that culture that have 2 last names because they have the mother's maiden name in there, I think that is super awesome. So I really respect that about the culture. So art and girl power.
Yeah. Jonathan, you're next.
A lot intrigues me, but I think, there's that surface level culture of things that are food and things you see, like celebrations and stuff. So if you look at Zaretta Hammond's work, and she talks about different levels of culture, specifically, I think a lot of what we're talking about now is the culture that's kind of that surface level thing. And there was a little bit of conversation that got into the shallow and deeper root level culture that was discussed here. And when you talk about names and the meaning and how the power of that is, with somebody just intuitively knowing that when you look at 2 last names, you're not going to say the last of them. You're going to say the first of the 2 last names, which is the traditionally the family name. And those are things that are kind of unspoken that people might not know. And so I think there are a lot of great opportunities here as an HSI and the Latino culture to kind of get at that deeper level for little by little for people to understand. And maybe understand why there's certain things that we do in cultures, and the Latino culture in particular, that they may not say that, but immediately it just might turn somebody away from something. And somebody who doesn't understand more than just the shallow culture may not have an understanding as to why somebody is, I'm not going to participate in that, or that's just not for me. And so I'm intrigued at the different levels of all cultures, but the Hispanic culture, I love the food. I love the traditions as well. And I love the language. And so all those things are good to me, but share more as we can for other people to understand that more root level culture when you get kind of below the surface.
Okay. How can we further support the Pride of HSI Week on campus? And I'm back with you, Jose.
Well, now that we're talking about celebration, I think a day to celebrate our Hispanic students would be nice, like a little, party or whatnot, just to showcase accomplishments within the Hispanic students. I think that would be nice.
I agree with you on that one. Teresa, you're up. Hey, you're muted.
Or something.
I was muted. My kids are in the background working, so I'm trying to keep muted. I believe further support could come from, in the form of clubs or input from the students, like Jose just said. And I'm going to be completely honest here. Before I was on ASG or anything like that, I had no clue what HSI was. So I honestly had to do research, because I was like, what is HSI? And when I first started research and I put into Google, what is HSI? It brought up ICE Institute. I was like, why are we celebrating this? Like, oh my goodness. So then I put in HSI college, made it more specific. And then I was like, oh, thank the Lord, it's something better. But because, I didn't know what it was, and I like to consider myself a very knowledgeable person. So just, having that information available, like flyers around campus, or like I said, having a group on campus being like, hey, we have this information available, or, this is what it is. I think having that out there even would be great. Just, information available is great about the HSI and what it is. Making it more than just 1 week a year.
Yeah, I agree with that, because was it last year? That's when I found out about HSI, and I'm pretty sure not a whole lot of people know about it. That's kind of where I'm at. Julia, you're up.
I agree with both of you guys. I had no idea what HSI is or was. So making everybody really aware of, the diversity and what HSI is, and making it more of a group, and getting the knowledge out there of like us being of HSI campus. I believe that that is something that CGC should work on, and we should advertise it more. So that's my thought and what I feel.
Yeah. Courtney, you're up.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone has said. I think it's really important for us to inform the campus at large about what it means to be a Hispanic Serving Institute. And I think we could do that through different avenues, just sending out, email, like when it's the week we're dedicating to it, and just sending out an email, informing it. I feel like probably there should be an HSI social media takeover. So kind of like dedicating every single day to posting on the social media platforms about, maybe as Jonathan was talking about, different facts about the deeper parts of the Hispanic culture that maybe others don't know, and just sharing things like that just to raise awareness and celebrate what it means to be Hispanic, what it means to be a Hispanic Serving Institute. And then, yeah, just have more kind of on-campus little events and things happening, like Jose mentioned, like a little celebration of sort. And I know I've seen in the past, sometimes they'll have, food out for people and things like that. So I think that's great, but I think we continue to build on that in different ways. And that could be really helpful in just informing the campus community.
I don't quite remember what we did last year, but I believe we did like an email chain of a couple of us answering questions. I know it was staff, faculty, and a couple of students. And this year we try to build on that and try to do something more that was more aware in a way that students were able to see a lot more. So this year, I think it's a lot more solid than it was last year.
That's awesome. And it just can keep building from there.
Yeah.
So like on Monday, sorry, Addie. So on Monday, Addie did an interview with Dr. Cronin, because they're both Hispanic ladies in a president position at the college. So they did an interview on Facebook, and that was posted, right? Yeah. And then on Tuesday, we had Gorge, were they Gorge Scholars?
Yes.
Or we had students submit videos, and what was the questions they got to answer?
I know the questions were different. Tiffany chose those, but basically it was just answering either like what intrigues you the most about Hispanic culture, or what does it mean to you that CGCC is an HSI?
And sorry, I keep interrupting you, Addie.
You're good.
And so when we posted those on social media as well. So, and we have this today, and then tomorrow is
Constitution Day. So we have nothing tomorrow, but we're back on Friday.
Yeah. So there's different things planned. So there's a lot more this year than last year, which is great.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, I'm defending my dissertation in 2 weeks, so I've been a little bit distracted with, yes. Anyway, was there an email that went out to the campus community about each day and what kind of events were taking place? There might have been, but no. Okay. Cause I was just like,
I don't think so.
Okay. Cause I think that would be helpful just for everybody to know, like, these are the things that are taking place. Because I don't know how many people are on social media and that sort of stuff, but I think that I think as a campus community, we continue to build up that sort of thing and create rapport and community using those outlets as well. So it's great to hear all that's going on.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there was an event or a thing that went out, but I can't remember who sent it.
Okay.
I'm trying to look for it, but I did see it on my whole emails that I was reading the other day, and I was like, oh.
Did it come out in the Currents?
I think it was in the
Oh, yeah, it probably was in the Currents, yeah.
So, all right. Sorry, cool. Sarah, we've taken a lot of time.
Oh, I know. We really got carried away with that one.
I'll keep my answer short.
Oh, you're good.
More food, more music.
Hey.
More dancing.
Yes, dancing. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Jonathan, you're next.
It's about family, right? Core values of the Latino Hispanic population. Family is so much more important than it is in the mainstream American culture, if you will. If there is such a definition of mainstream white America, I guess is what I'm referring to. And specifically, trying to get, maybe some of the families involved and get more excited. And so have the family unit come together to think about opportunities and things that can be provided during this week. I mean, yesterday was El Grito, the Day of Independence, where they celebrate that. And a lot of people think in this country that Independence Day for Mexico is Cinco de Mayo, because the media has made it seem that that's something that's really important. And you talk to people in Mexico, and some of them, they're like, Cinco de Mayo. If we live in Puebla, sure, that's important. But, just to try to clarify some of those things, and coming from the youth here that can do that, and, maybe in a fun way, and with family too, and have the celebrations, food and dances all too. That would be great.
Thank you. We are up with, what have you learned about the Hispanic culture? And we're with Jose.
Well, it was kind of hard to come up with this question because all I've known was my Hispanic culture. So, you grew up with it. But comparing it to, I'd say, like other cultures, I think, family is number one. And also helping, just helping whoever when you can, if you have it. That's another important thing. At least my family values, helping those who are in need, even though we don't have much. I think those are the top two.
I agree. Teresa, you're up and you're muted. You're welcome. Gotcha.
Thanks for that reminder. So, growing up, I learned a lot about the Hispanic culture. Like I said, being raised Catholic, those two really coincide, because there is a lot of Hispanics that are Catholic, so they just coincide together. Some of the things that I really admire about the Hispanic culture, they are some of the hardest working people that I have ever known and had the pleasure of working with. Their work ethic is amazing. They'll be down in the ditches with you, and until that job is done, they won't give up. And that, I just it's amazing. And they're like, oh, I'll help. It's like, oh no, I got it. No, you want to let them help you, because it's almost like you're offending them if you're not letting them help you. And it's just amazing, because that's just who they are, and they're just such hard workers, and they have such a great, like Jose said, a love for their family and faith. And that's just not something that's, oh, I love you. It's like, come here, I'm going to love on you, and you're not going away anytime soon. It's, I'm going to love you forever. I don't care who you are. You're Sally's cousin. Okay, come here, I'm going to love you. And that is just something I've always admired. And, your friend, if I'm friends with Addie, your family's going to love me until I die, because that's just the way it is. And I love that about them. So I just love it. And I have very many friends that are like that as well. So.
Yeah. All right, Julia.
So growing up, I knew a lot about my culture, but I learned more every single day. Something that Jonathan said, I didn't learn about Mexico's Independence Day until I was about 19 years old. And of course I knew that Cinco de Mayo was not Mexico's Independence Day, but I didn't know we celebrated it in September until I was about 19 years old. And so that's something that ever since then, I kind of took with me. And I always try to I guess correct people, but I try not to correct them. I just try to inform them. But it's something that I've learned over the years about my culture. And I just try to, I just learn stuff every day about the Hispanic culture. something else is just that, you know, like Teresa said, we're hard workers. The Hispanic culture, very hard workers, you know, like right now in the smoke, like everybody should be inside, you know, taking precautions, but farm workers are still outside working, and, you know, it's amazing. So that's what I got.
Great answer. Courtney, you're next.
Yeah, I actually learned something new today while we've been in this discussion. I didn't realize about the last names. I don't know why. So that was something new for me to learn. And now I'm thinking I want to learn more about the deeper things, as Jonathan was mentioning, because I'm very aware of the part in region of Mexico is that I've learned. Yeah, appreciate learning that and learning more. And I'm very, as I
Your audio is cutting in and out. Is it cutting out for you guys?
Yep,
Okay.
she's back.
did you get that at all? I think my connection got bad.
Yeah, it got choppy.
It did. Okay, well, I'll just really quickly say, did you hear me say that Jonathan taught me the thing about the names today?
Yes.
The last names. So that was really new to me, because I've already got a pretty good working knowledge about the importance of family, hardworking, dedication, the different cultures, the different traditions. So all of that. And I think something that a lot of people don't realize is that all of the different areas within Mexico are so very unique and different. So I've had the pleasure of going to Mexico City, Puebla, and Baja, and it's just like the cuisine is different. There's just different aspects. So it's not just one whole culture, and I'm referring to Mexico right now specifically, but it's just very unique in the different areas. So that's something that I've learned and that I continue to enjoy learning about. Hopefully that didn't break up too much.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
Is it me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. What have I learned about Hispanic culture? Well, first of all, I learned that pozole is really good.
Oh,
Thank you,
yes.
Addie. Never had it before. It was really yummy. Of course, it goes without saying, well, everybody's commented on this, but the family values, I find the family loyalty is really great. I mean, I grew up kind of under the Italian, culture, and it's very similar as far as blood is thicker than water. Well, that's very much the Hispanic culture as well. Yeah, I think those are my two things.
Okay, Jonathan.
Well, one thing that we have talked about a little bit, but not directly, is, and this happens often in this part of the world, when we think Hispanic, people might think Mexican only. And we've got to remember that, there are, I think, 21 countries that are represented in Latin America. So that is something that, we need to factor in and be reminded of, and remember that, when I'm speaking to a group of migrant parents, maybe 99% of the room, they do come from Mexico or, second, third generation here, but there are some from Guatemala. There are some from El Salvador, or Argentina. So you have, these other cultures that bring in some richness that we do need to celebrate as well. And just be aware, who is your audience, to make sure that we do know that. And one thing that's true too in every community I've been in, and it depends, and it's interesting to talk to parents because different sectors, you talk about it, people say Latinx. If you talk to people on this call, we may all be familiar with that term. But if you go and talk to some of the parents over in the Chenoweth neighborhood, Latinos, pues Mexicanos, and you say Latinx, they're like, yo no identifico con eso, I don't identify with that. So they're saying, no, soy Latina or soy Mexicano. So there's interesting things. And then you go to some place and they're like, oh, somos Hispanos, we're Hispanic. And others say, no, somos Mexicanos. So you got to kind of learn what people are comfortable with and the terms. And in some regions, different terminology is used and more represented than others. And there's always things to learn, and expressions, regionalisms, and things. I do consider myself a fluent speaker of Spanish, but there are times when there's a regionalism that's new to me. And even, one person from Oaxaca coming from, Mexico City, they may not understand each other with that actual refran, or what do you call it? Like some kind of something that might be not necessarily slang, but I'm trying to think
Dialect?
of refran in English. It's not dialect. It's like a
Like an
An idiom?
idiom. Thank you. I couldn't think of it in English. So basically like an idiom. So there are idioms that are used in different parts of the country that completely make a different or have a complete different meaning in other parts of the country, or just one country to another. There are certain verbs that are everyday common verbs. I'm going to grab this or take this, but in some parts of Mexico, for example, if you use that in a different context, somebody might get red in the face. So you got to learn some of these subtleties and be careful with that. And I've made those mistakes, but it's okay. That's how we learn.
We are on the fifth one, which is, what do you think HSI means to people?
Well, for those who know, I think it represents support for the Hispanic community outside of their own family. So they have somebody there besides their family supporting them. I think that's very important for those people.
Teresa, you're up.
So for those with the Hispanic background, I would think it'd give them a sense of pride of going to a school that's taken the extra steps, to a school that's actually making it an HSI institute. As like a non-Hispanic such as myself, I'm honored to attend an institution that has taken those steps and saying, hey, we are an HSI institute, and we're proud, we're taking steps to show and honor these students who are of HSI background. And it's really meaningful that we're taking a part of this. We're putting ourselves out there saying, hey, don't be afraid to come to this college. We're going to accept you for who you are, and we're going to help you through this. We have a whole team of people that are willing to help you through this. So I, personally take pride in that. So it's really meaningful to me.
Okay. Julia?
I would say like another form of family, like another sense of support system, because we all need that. Even if we have it at home, we still need more support in our lives. So that's what I would say, that's what HSI means to a lot of people.
Okay. And my screen kind of changed, so I'm going to go back to Jonathan.
So what does HSI mean to me? What does it mean to people, I guess, is the question specifically. I think a lot of people don't know what that means yet. Yeah. And I think that's become clear here. And in talking to people as well, I do think that there are other people that we need to explain and know what that means. In the world of grants and federal grants, it's huge. And some of the grants that I've reviewed for different regions and stuff, if you're HSI, you are qualifying for a whole host of grants that other organizations are not. And in some cases, we're talking millions of dollars over a number of years for a specific program. So I'm excited about the opportunity that college might be able to have over time as it grows and learns more about HSI, and applying for some of those grants out there that provide more opportunities for our Latino, Hispanic youth to be able to do things. And once we're able to travel again to take those trips to see the nation's capital and learn right there with that. And those things are available that I've seen through other organizations, and really excited to see that opportunity for our youth here at the college.
Okay. Courtney, you're up.
I would have to agree with Jonathan, and based on what all of you explained at the beginning, I don't think that a lot of people know what it is. HSI. I think if you hear Hispanic Serving Institute, just that word "serve" being in there kind of signifies that this is a support. This is an extra support system. This is a recognition that we have this population that we want to foster and help succeed. And so I would hope that for people, it signifies that we're here to serve this population, support them. And these are all steps in, trying to make everything more equitable on campus.
Okay. Sarah.
And inclusiveness. Yes.
Agreed.
I
Sarah.
think like what HSI means to people, I think if you are in the Hispanic culture, that it means that it's a safe space. I think that because we're a Hispanic Serving Institution, we have had extra resources to update forms so that it's bilingual. We have more people on campus that speak the language, which is really nice, and more people who suck at speaking in the language but can understand. There's that too. But no, I just think the fact that we have accommodations and it is a safe space. I mean, we're very protective of our students. We care about our students, which I think is really evident, and probably the best reason why I work here is because of our dedication to students. And this just adds one more layer of accessibility.
So here's my next question. How can students benefit from Hispanic Heritage Month and CGCC being a Hispanic Serving Institution? And I'm back with you, Jose.
What was the question again?
How can students benefit from Hispanic Heritage Month and CGCC being a Hispanic Serving Institution?
Well, I feel like the students would feel welcome and supported. Also, like, motivate them, since they are being supported by such a community that we have. And shit. And the other part was CGCC, right?
Yes. It would be number 7 if you have the paper.
Number 7. Yeah, I wrote a couple notes. Yeah, just like a big support system for these Hispanic students, that they won't feel alone throughout their, college career. I think that's a big point right there.
I agree with you. Teresa, you're up.
So I would like to think that it would help encourage the students to do better at school, because they are in like a cohort or community, and they would want to succeed because of being here, and to help students graduate with pride, attending college like this, and on time, and not drag it out for 6 or 7 years, and make a goal for themselves and reach that and achieve it. So.
Okay. Julia, you're up.
I think that with all this, I think we would just have the resources to give our students. Sorry, I'm gonna look at the question again. Yeah, I think that's the benefit of just being an HSI college and for our students, is that we have the resources to give to all the diversity, in the cultures. Resources to, like Sarah was saying, have bilingual, materials to give to our students, and so they don't have to struggle to have someone to fill out their paperwork or track down someone to help them. They can actually fill it out themselves, or find the means to do it, because growing up in the Hispanic community, I don't know how much I've helped people fill out paperwork or translate or to do all this, you know. It's a struggle for people who don't speak English, who it's their second language, even people who they do speak English. It's a struggle for them. So I think that's just a benefit, is the resources.
Okay. Courtney, your book.
So I think for the Hispanic students, the resources and the grants and the extra support system. But, you know, I think for the non-Hispanic students, having this time dedicated and this way to celebrate just raises their cultural awareness. We do live in a very diverse society. We live on a diverse campus. And I think that the more recognition that we can bring to that, the more education that we can bring to that. And it just increases their value for all of that and being a part of all of that. So I think that it's really beneficial for not only the Hispanic students on campus, but really for the campus at large. And so I think celebrating that, raising awareness to that, is just really important. And I'm excited that, you know, this is just seems to be an expanding situation, meaning like we're trying to do more and more in regards to that.
Okay. Sarah, you're up.
So one of the things that I always say is that people who are angry or, you know, frustrated, people fear what they don't understand. And having Hispanic Heritage Month and CGCC being a Hispanic Serving Institution allows us to break down some of those stereotypes and assumptions. It's a chance for people to learn about each other. One of the things I learned in my anthropology mission in life was the word ethnocentrism, ethnocentric, which means your culture is the only culture and everything else is weird. I mean, in a nutshell, that's what that means. And so we really want to get away from that as a country, as a world, as everything. And the only way we're going to do that is if we're exposed to other cultures and if we learn from them. And I hope next year we're open, this COVID stuff is gone, because I expect some samples. I expect some colors, and I expect some music, because I think the easiest way to introduce somebody to a culture is through celebration and through food and stuff like that, because everybody's like, oh, I'll try that. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I want to learn more. And I just think it's really I think it's important to have that representation on campus. And not just for Hispanics, for all different cultures, especially the ones that we serve here. So I just think it's really, really important, because it helps us all get along better and understand each other and have compassion for each other, which is so needed.
And Jonathan, you're up.
Yes, here, and the food. Sorry, I was partaking in a little bit of the typical food here just a moment ago.
Going to Ixtapa for dinner, I've already decided.
I had a quesadilla and so some carnitas and things here. But anyway, the important thing is that really what is, I think, really important about HSI and the campus and for students, in working with Latino migrant students most of my career, often we're talking about youth, and I don't know, Jose, Adilene, Julia, if you have identified with this in any regard, but maybe, you know, you've been here your whole lives, and or essentially, and your culture that you have become and identified with is maybe more of the mainstream American culture, but you have this blend of cultures and this beauty of both together. But some students, and I don't know, you know, youth, if this is any of you ever feel that way, that sometimes you feel marginalized, or you're pushed aside, or you're like, I don't know, should I share about my culture? But this is an opportunity to share that and identify with your roots and be proud of that and show who you really are, and have the beauty of others celebrating and learning with you what it is about your culture that's so important to you and so beautiful, starting with simple things on that surface culture that we talked about, such as food. And that is a great place to start. And those samples, I'm looking for them too.
Okay.
Tamales at our next ASG meeting, Addie. Just saying.
Whoa. Responsibility.
If it's anything like your
Job
pozole, it was
description.
delicious.
I know. Thank you for reminding me what pozole, what the word was, because I was like, oh, I had that for the first time like 2 years ago, and everybody always spoke so highly of it, all my students in the ESOL program, and I'm like, I've never had it. Well,
So good.
I mentioned I never had it, and lo and behold, I've got 2 different students bringing me pozole like within the next week. So now I know. Now I know.
Hey, I was in a multicultural speech class. I think you were in it with me, Jose, and we got to bring food to the class, and somebody brought flan, and I got to try flan for the first time. I don't know if it was you, Jose. Maybe it was a
So
doppelganger.
Yeah, I
But
don't think so.
I'm
No,
really
I got to
hungry.
try flan for the first time, and while the texture caught me but off guard, the taste was amazing. So, yeah, food. It's the way.
Great. So we are on to number 8, which is, what is the difference between a Hispanic or Latino?
Difference between Hispanic and Latinos. So Hispanics derive from Spanish-speaking countries. Latinx, Latin America, non Spanish-speaking countries in Latin America.
So Latin is like Central America.
Yeah.
Oh,
I learned that not too long ago. And
I didn't know. I
that's
was always taught.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was taught never to say Hispanic because it was a derogatory term. So I've been like trying to retrain myself to say it, because I always tried. I went to a training once and they're like, do you know what Hispanic stands for? And I was like, what? And they're like, Hispanic. And I was like, what? So anyways, it's good to know because I was just using Latino, and I didn't realize that only meant Central America. So that's really good to know. Thank you very much. I won't be afraid of the word anymore.
Teresa, you're up.
So I believe, if I did my research correctly, I have 2 children at home. Come on, Addie. Is that it's basically the difference is on the locations. And that Hispanics are from Mexico. Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong. And if it's wrong, blame Addie, because I sent her this before. And then, what?
No, I was kidding.
And then Latinos are like from the central, like Southern American region. Okay. Courtney, you have this look on your face like I said something wrong. And blame
Well, no, I just understood it as Hispanic was referring to language.
Okay.
So it's more focused on language, where Latino is more focused on geography. So that was the way I understood it. So, my face has got a lot of expression. So I did not mean that to be alarming, or that I was like, Teresa, you are wrong. No, I was just like, wait a second. I thought it wasn't just, Hispanic didn't equate to just Mexico. It was more about the language, whereas Latino was more about the geography. So that was the way that I understood it. But I could be wrong.
Listen from our, well-versed panel here.
Exactly. We get to learn now a little bit.
Yeah, so do I, because I thought, or how I learned it was like the other way around, like Hispanic was like also geographical, like it was about the geography. So I'm still learning here too, because I was like, wait, hold on. Julia?
Don't even call on me. I'm not going to answer this one because now I'm confused.
Jonathan, you're our best bet to get us all out of this big bubble I put us in.
Where's Google?
Well, I'm happy to do what I can. And really, truly, I think there's some subjectivity involved in what the definition of these 2 things are. But if you look objectively and try to do some research to find out, from what I've learned over the years, the term Hispanic is something that was invented by the federal government. And it was to help classify people in terms of demography and census information. And there are some people that have been very much offended by that and say, I'm not part of a group of people that falls into this category that's defined by the government. And so there are some people who push against Hispanic historically, I've heard. And, when you get to the Chicano era and things a number of years back, in the 70s, 80s, things were a little different. And there was some, mecha clubs and a lot of the power there. And now, there's a lot more inclusivity, and people are realizing that, okay, we don't need to be that radical with how we define that. But it really truly depends on the group of people you're talking with whom I've experienced too. Some people accept Hispanic. Some of our parents here in this community interchange Latino, Hispano in one sentence to the next. So when they're talking about, something, there's a nosotros los Hispanos or los Latinos. So we, the Hispanics or the Latinos, might say this. And so I'll hear them interchange that. So you get people that are comfortable with it. But of course, Latin American does compromise not just Central America, but all the way down to Tierra del Fuego, down in the southern point around the Horn there of Latin America. So all the countries in Latin America, that not all of them actually do speak Spanish. So there are those definitions and different things about it. And so I think there's room to look at this, explore this, and you're going to get different definitions. And probably Wikipedia, somebody's changed the definition from one day to the next. So, you might find differing answers. So that's how I take it, and how I feel is kind of the difference between the two. But some people interchange them a lot.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. So how do you think this year differs from last year? Just like broad.
Jose?
Oh.
Jose.
Well, I'm recently new to this, so I wouldn't really have too much information from last year. Yeah.
Teresa, you're up.
So this year is different, and it's different when I'm on ASG, so I'm much more involved in like what the activities and such that's happening on campus. And I don't even remember what we did in regards to HSI last year, or if there was anything done for HSI. Was there anything done for HSI last year?
There was, but we were not like in campus because we were still we hadn't started school just yet. So
kind of like we did this year.
Yeah, so whatever just went out, I think it was only like emails. Like every day there was out like one email of like one person responding. And that's kind of where they asked me to answer those questions, and I was like, what is this even? But yeah, there was not a lot going on there. Yeah,
and then this year, having something go on every day, having more people interact, and that's where I see it's the difference. And, just being more involved and having not just, ASG members be involved. We're including staff, faculty, board members, Gorge Scholar students be involved. And I think that's really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Julia?
So I wasn't really involved last year, but I think just getting the word out there this year, and hopefully we can get more people involved and to know what it is.
I agree with that. And then Courtney?
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think I don't remember anything happening last year. This is kind of an odd time just because everybody's not in school right now for us. I mean, across the nation that varies, but yeah, it seems like more things are happening. And with that is we're going to raise more awareness. So that's really awesome, because the first time I ever even heard about, that we were a Hispanic Serving Institute. I feel like it was the spring, maybe, of 2019. So it would be like a year and a half ago. And then it sort of, came on my radar. I began to understand what it meant, and how, as a faculty, we were trying to move into learning more about that and what it means. So it just seems that it's just building on that year by year. And so, yeah, it seems like right now that momentum is good. So hopefully it keeps up.
Yeah, and something that I learned about, I think she said we became a Hispanic Serving Institution in 2013. So for it to be this far out and for it to not be that recognized is kind of a work in progress.
Yes, I would say that, yes, there needs to be some attention to that, and it sounds like we're doing it, so that's good stuff.
Yeah. Sarah, you're
Um, I just wrote down hopefully more involvement, because I think, as everybody says, we're growing each year. We're getting more woke each year, more in touch with different cultures and celebrating them, which I think is just super important. Because, see, I grew up in Las Vegas, where it was just a melting pot of culture. So I was used to, different cultures. Every month we would have different assemblies and we would learn something, and it was super cool. It's probably why I went into anthropology. And then when I moved out here, I was just like, oh, okay, this is interesting. So I love this. This is great, because, anything I can do to be involved in anything to do with culture, I love it. It's super interesting to me.
okay. And Jonathan, you're up.
Well, what's different this year? Wow, COVID-19, that's really different. We are distance learning. There's going to be some soft opening next week of people being able to come onto campus, but a lot of differences. And so what kind of barriers does that put in place for somebody in the white skin that they're in, let alone if they're a person of color? So I want to, call that out. And we are in a very different time right now, and I think people have some awareness of what's going on with Black Lives Matter, killing of George Floyd, and also the board. We actually had a statement of solidarity that talks about this and calls this out, and hopefully that'll become public for people to know that we do care and we're not ignoring what's going on in the world right now. And so I think that's really what's different, and has brought a greater awareness to some people that have never really thought about it. And my hope is that we can get to a place where people start realizing that some of the things they've been saying, that they're saying and using microaggressions and not even realizing that they're offending other people of color. By somebody saying those people are your people, that can be very truly offensive to people of color, and a person in the white skin that they're in may not even realize that they're offended. And so my hope is that we'll have more opportunities for people to become aware that what they're doing and the niceness here in Oregon, we just need to be aware that there are things that we're doing, and that I was raised to be colorblind. We can't do that anymore. We have to recognize people of color. Because if we don't recognize people of color in our Hispanics, Latinos, does that mean they don't exist? Absolutely not. But if we say that I don't see color, then a person of color might say, you don't see me then? And so that's, I think, what's really important, and hopefully what has begun to change. And it's a huge process, and this country has been battling for hundreds of years. And my hope is that we can help be that change, and these people can make that continue to happen right here, everyone who's on this call and more.
I love colors. I think that's great. I don't think we should ever live in a colorless world. That would be really boring.
Agreed. I'm going to go ahead and only ask two more, and these are going to be more like broad, and feel free to answer whatever. So what is something you feel people should be more aware of?
Anybody? Okay, go ahead, Sam.
Well, first off, HSI, that we are an HSI institution. That there are people who are there for them, that are supportive, that, truly care for their future. So there's that.
Mhm. Teresa?
So I think that everybody should be more aware of that everybody has different cultures and different upbringings, that we're all different people, that we're all not raised the same, even though, Courtney, Sarah, and I all have, the same color of skin. We were all raised differently. Courtney has a beautiful Southern accent. And though we're not, we both have red hair, though we're not raised the same. However, this doesn't make any of us less different of a human. I mean, we all have feelings. We all matter, no matter, what kind of education we're receiving, and we all should be able to receive the same kind of education. It doesn't matter, and that's what I love about CGCC. They're going to help us no matter what. Sarah works her tail off to help us get our financial aids that we need. Courtney, I know she's helped me many times try to understand what I'm trying to figure out. It's like, whoa there, wait a second, let's work this out. And Julia and I have worked with ASG trying to figure out stuff. We figured out book stuff for winter term when they're like, no, you don't get your books until the first day of winter term. And we're like, wait a second, that's not going to work for us. We just have to come together and, be able to work with each other and put our, feelings and whatever, our upbringings aside, and just be able to work together and, be aware that we may not agree on everything, and that's okay. We just have to be decent human beings and be kind. So, that's my thoughts.
Agreed. Julia?
We need to be aware that it's okay to have problems, and that, there are resources. The college has resources to help us. If you're struggling through anything, we have the resources to help you, and don't be afraid to ask for help. If it's from tutoring to mental health problems, no matter, who you are, if you're a student at CGC, we can get the help for you. Just don't be afraid, to ask a peer for help, to ask a teacher, to ask, a member of ASG, we can find, help for you. So just, it's okay to have problems. It's okay to ask for help. And I think that we all should be aware of that.
If you guys don't mind me touching on Julia's there real fast, that's the one thing I don't like about COVID right now, is that we're not together for everybody to be, seeing each other face to face. So we don't be able to help each other like that and be like, hey, are you okay today? Like, so that's the one thing I don't like, is not being able to check on, my classmates or, stuff like that. So, but we have resources, so reach out to ASG members, your classmates, or your professors, and they're there to help. So sorry, I'll let you guys go on.
Agreed. Courtney, you're up.
When you asked this question and said, in a broad sense, what do I think people need to be more aware of? I think they need to be more aware of their own biases and their own prejudices, because I think the majority of people don't face those, and they have them. We all have them because society has conditioned us to have them, and that's okay. That doesn't make you a bad person. It just means that you need to look within yourself and figure out what those are and begin to eliminate them. And don't be hard on yourself because you have them, like I said, this is just a normal part of being a human being in a society. But I think that it's really important for each and every one of us to look within ourselves and think about how we are letting our biases impact our thoughts, and then in turn impact our actions to others. So I just think that's really important, and I don't know how to accomplish that really in my work as an educator who's preparing future educators. That's a big part of it, is trying to say, hey, look within yourself, determine what your own biases are, make sure that as a future teacher and educator, you're not bringing your biases into the classroom and treating any of your students differently at all based on their background, and just yeah, trying to be more inclusive and equitable, but that's I think the root of that happening is understanding more about our own biases and our own prejudices and working to eliminate those in our thoughts, in our actions, in our words.
Mhm.
I think that people should be more aware and understanding of language barriers. I think that I had this moment with a student and her father this last year, and the father didn't speak English. The daughter did, or no, maybe it was a son. I don't know. It was a kid and a parent. So the parent didn't really speak English, and I was going to get help from my coworker who spoke Spanish, but he was busy, or he was in another meeting or something. And so I was kind of talking to the kid, and then I realized I was like, I could tell he understood me, and I was like, "Tu comprende?" And he's like, I was like, same. So it actually didn't need my coworker because we were able to slowly get the message to each other. And let me tell you, financial aid terms are not easy to simplify. So, but just taking that extra step and acknowledging, I mean, I took, 3 years of Spanish, and I can't put sentences together. You have to really, for me, I'm one of those people who probably has to be immersed in the culture in order to like really pick it up and be fluent. Languages are really hard for me. But I still understand things. And so I think that, people can be intimidated by languages, and I'm so guilty of it. I'm intimidated to speak it, but I've learned that as long as people don't mind me speaking in fragments or nouns, that we'll get the message across. Like there's ways to understand, and there's more than just verbal communication. There's nonverbal communication, there's body language, there's a lot of things that I think that people should be more aware of, because 9 times out of 10, the person you're talking to is not a threat. They're just trying to understand what's going on, and vice versa. And I think having that awareness would solve a lot of problems.
Okay. Jonathan?
There have been a lot of great things that have been stated here already around this question, and I agree with them. Thank you for that. What I do think would be good for us to be aware of and to try to do is to bring in more of the students' voice here, students of color, to hear what it is like in online classes or classes in person when they had them, to give that experience. Because when you take a look at the survey that was just released and done by the equity group, there are some indications of some things that are problems, but we don't really know what those things are. So I don't really know what's behind it. Was it that someone was feeling like they didn't get the support they needed in, it was student services, or did they feel like they were being marginalized because of the color of their skin? So I think some of those things are important for people to share that voice and to share their experiences, so that people who are not of color, white people in the room, can hear that and know what that's like. And then at the same time, I'd love to have a board meeting or other meetings. We flip it and we interpret. I'm okay, and so are other people in the board meeting, to run the meeting in Spanish, but not everybody is. And so there might be opportunities where, we flip the language in the room for people to see what that's like, and then to have a true, deeper understanding of what it's like to go somewhere where you maybe understand, in a technical situation such as financial aid, if you're lucky, every third or fourth word. So those are things that I think would be good to bring awareness.
So true. So true. That's a great idea. Even if it's not the whole meeting, but like a portion of it, just to give people a taste. I think that's an excellent idea.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm ending this with this question. Is very broad, so you can say anything. And I'm talking for you, Teresa. Is there anything you would like to change at this moment in your life? And I'm back with you, Jose.
Honestly, no. I'm grateful for what I have. for what I've accomplished and like just all the adversity I've been through. I mean, it taught me a lot about myself. So I think I'm going through the right path, and yeah, I don't think I would like anything to be more different than it is right now.
Okay, great question. Okay, Teresa, you're up.
That's a great answer, Jose. I like that answer. So the reason why Addie's picking on me is that yesterday I was like, wait, is that just the question? You're not going to go any more specific than that? She goes, no, that's the question. I go, okay, then I want $1 million. So I'm guessing that's what she thinks my answer is going to be. Right now, there's a lot of things that I would like to change, and not necessarily like educational wise, but one, I want COVID-19 to go away. I want it to disappear. I personally want to be able to go back into a classroom environment. I personally do so much better in a classroom environment. Online learning was a big adjustment this spring too, and then this summer, and now fall. It's going to be adjustment, but not only for me, but for my children's sake. They've been at home now 6 months, and they need to go back to school. They're not getting the education, one, that they need, but they're also missing out on a huge social aspect that they need in their lives. So that is what the one thing I would change right now is that COVID-19 needs to disappear and they need to go back into a classroom. Then I can focus on my schoolwork. That's what I want.
Julia?
I totally 100% agree with Teresa that, you know, as being a mother and a parent, like we need our time. And there's with being COVID-19, we just don't have that. And other than that, you know, life is pretty awesome and wouldn't take anything for, you know, granted, and life is pretty good. And it's just COVID-19 needs to go away so we can all get the education that we need and deserve, and our teachers can get back to teaching because that's what they love to do. That's what they went to school for. And yeah, everybody can get back to normal and live their lives. And that's my main concern. That's what I would change.
Courtney?
Well, this is a very loaded question, and I can't possibly answer all the things in this whole world that I would like to change right now because this would be a very long answer. For myself personally, I'm very happy with where I am right now. So I think that, you know, our life is a journey and it leads us to where we need to be. And that's how I feel that right now in this current moment, I am where I need to be. And I'm very happy and grateful for that. Of course, you know, I would like to see COVID disappear as well. I would like to see us resume some sense of normalcy. I think that the children in school thing is huge. It's maybe the biggest aspect to this. And well, I shouldn't say that because there's been many lives lost, but the children not being in school is really a big problem. They need that. They need that socialization. So I would love to see that change. But in just another short answer, outside of my own personal life, I would love to see the civil unrest that is currently happening in our nation subside. So that's what I'll say on that.
Word. Mm-hmm. I've always said that, you know, my goal, especially working at a college, is to make America smart again, because I think if more people are educated, we would have less of this civil unrest. So that's a big thing I would change in the world. I think the most frustrating aspect for me is the misinformation and that goes out. And I took multiple classes in my degree about propaganda and news and media and biases. And it's like, I have this background, I know things, and people still won't listen or believe. And I'm like, you know, banging my head against the wall. So globally, that's where I'm at. For me personally, if there's anything I would change, I would take all of the calories out of macaroni and cheese. And I would just get rid of calories personally. Maybe have a few good ones, but that would be awesome. And And I don't know, I want COVID-19 to go away because I'm a people person. And I'm like, seriously, I'm making friends with spiders. I held a grasshopper the other day and I was like, this is my friend. Like, this is where I'm at. So I need to be around people. I had a katydid on my screen. It's like a grasshopper on steroids. I'm talking to bugs now. Like, that's where I'm at. So yeah, I really miss human interaction. That's what I would change locally.
Sarah, I want you aware that you can get help at any time.
Well, I had to bring my cats over to my parents' house. So I don't have any pets. So I make friends with the spiders who earn their keep by eating the flies and the gnats. So I don't have a bug problem inside. Have the predators. I only allow predators space. And then I have like the little pine beetles that stick to my screen. And if they fly, they're like Helen Keller. They're deafblind. They don't know where they're going. But if they land on their back, then they're like, ah. And I found if you just stick your finger, they'll hug you. And my mom's like, you really need to get a cat. And I was like, I know. So yeah, I miss people.
Jonathan, you're up.
This is a big question. Yeah, a lot of great ideas and insight on this, and personally, and then with the world. Truly, surely if we could go back in time, change not only where I am in terms of my journey on equity. I thought I was pretty far into it and realize every day I'm still learning. And a really powerful training, Coaching for Educational Equity, a week-long residential training I took, I think 7 years ago, really changed my life. And I went into it thinking I already kind of knew stuff. And by day 3, I was just broken down and just, in tears and like, oh my God, what have I been doing? And how I've thinking that the typical white perspective, and this often happens with white male, just remain silent. And silence is power. And that's the system that's been built on in this country for oppression. Silence is power. And people just, we just understand. And you just be quiet about it, everyone's going to understand. If we don't interrupt those practices and injustices that I was talking about of microaggressions, then when I think that when I was in a classroom teacher, that the students know that I'm on their side, by remaining silent and not calling something out, no, I no longer am. Mm-hmm. Because by remaining silent, they think I'm on the wrong side of them and what they're trying to do and be inclusive. And so I would go back and change that. And I'm so thankful that the education that my daughters that are in high school now, they're so much further along than I ever was at their age in terms of their knowledge of equity and interrupting those practices. They already do it. I didn't have the skills to do it until I was in my 30s. They're doing it as teens. And so if you go back and change a lot of where we are, maybe, 20 years ago, we would be in a very different place today. It wouldn't be fixed. There's still a lot to do, but a lot more people would understand, be empathetic, and maybe not say some of the things that they are saying that are extremely hurtful, and coming from a place of ethnocentric, monolingual, not understanding, never leaving this country type of people. So sorry to categorize, but a lot of times people, they need to go outside of their language and their world and their culture to understand that it is different. So that's what I would change.
I love that point because, just locally, I'll never forget, I went to a restaurant and somebody made a racial slur against one of the workers there. And I stood up, I puffed out, and I was like, go, and I was like, do you need a hug? Somebody get this person a drink, I don't think I would have done that before, but I don't know, I felt more protective of people. So I think that's important, especially if, for people who are white, we have a privilege, and with that privilege comes responsibility. Mm-hmm. And if somebody is getting, attacked, it's our responsibility to step in.
Mm-hmm. I agree with every point that you guys brought today. This concludes our panel, but if you have any other comments, happy to hear them. Anything else that you would like from us, we're here to answer it. So Shoot it. No.
I just want to say thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure to connect with all of you and hear everybody's voices and opinions and perspectives about all of this. And so I just look forward to more opportunities like this in the future.
Yeah, it was very nice to meet you all.
Hey,
Nice
thank
to
you
meet you.
guys.
Nice to meet you. And if you have
Yeah,
financial
thank
aid issues,
you.
Meet you
holler at
too.
me. I can help you.
Okay.
Thank you guys for, coming on and, joining the panel. Sorry if I had to email a couple of times and on such short notice, it's a week that I think I sent out an email, but I appreciate you guys, coming on and, joining us. It really means a lot to ASG. We're trying to get everybody more involved this year. That's one of our main goals, is to get everybody, not just students, but faculty, staff, board members, everybody involved. So Sarah, you're killing me with that raccoon. You're
I
killing
know.
me.
I have more where that came from. I have videos.
Oh my gosh, yes. No, and I miss seeing like teachers and everybody on campus. That is the one thing that is killing me, is not being on campus and seeing everybody. So
Yeah.
kills me.
So one thing I want to say, and hopefully people on this panel here and others may be interested, as we continue and talk about equity with the board as well, I am proposing that we have a book study and do that sometime. So the board's going to have a retreat coming up in the next few weeks. And then after that, a book study. And so we'll get some books. And my hope is that we have not just board members on this, that we have students and staff that are on this too. So we can have those ongoing conversations, because you can't be one and done with equity and really with anything, to be honest, true professional development and learning. It needs to be repetitious. You need to have opportunities to talk about it. And so having people come together and talk about it based off of something that we might read. And there are a number of recommendations out there. So if people have recommendations, I'd be happy to hear those. You can send them my way. And happy to hear about that for a book study that might be good for students, staff, and board members. So looking forward to that and continuing our journey together and learning more about HSI and everyone here as one big, great unit. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
Bye.
everybody.
See ya.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.